music, white boy. Play the funky music now.
Ooh, that was a rough note.
That was a rough note, but I gave it on my all.
And you didn't.
I gave it my casual. You wouldn't want to hear me do it. Okay.
Welcome to LOA Today, where Tom Wells and Alyx King are going off the deep end. Today is Friday, April the 12th, 2019. It's 8 a.m. in New York. It's 5 a.m. in Los Angeles. 1 p.m. in London and Sydney, Australia. I think you're around 11 a.m. or 11 p.m. rather. But sorry, I give up on Sydney. I can't seem to calculate Sydney anymore.
He never knows what time it is in Sydney.
No,
it's
sometime in Sydney, but I haven't figured that out yet. But anyway, wherever you are in the world, thank you for joining us for another episode of LOA Today, your daily dose of happy. And clearly, Tom and Alyx are in a happy, silly, fun, excited mood because they wouldn't even shut up during the music. I mean, what are you going to do? You just can't take these two anywhere.
We didn't hear the music.
You couldn't hear the music? Oh, my God.
No, you never played it.
Well, then that means
in our world there was no music.
Oh my God!
We just didn't know we started.
That's why we were singing. Right?
Yeah.
Well, that would explain it. That would explain it. Yeah. Everybody else heard the music except you two, so I don't know why that was. But we'll figure that out later.
Well, that's gonna sound weird.
Yeah. Well,
I think you should get the rights to play the funky music. Why? That'd be a great way to start.
Definitely in a silly mood today.
We would dance to it. I swear.
Oh, you're not ready to see me dance.
I
don't know if it's appropriate for the show.
I'm not sure if I'm ready to see Tom dance, to be honest. But we won't go there.
Shake your baby maker.
You gotta shake your tail feather.
You want to see me shake my baby maker? Remember that line? You remember that line? That's a real line from a song. I'm not just saying.
No, I remember.
Yeah. I always thought that was the greatest line.
Okay. Well, as anyone listening in, tuning in for the first time can tell, we have no idea what's going to go on in this show. So we're going off in 15 directions at the same time, which is fine. We're used to doing that. That's okay. But this is also a live stream. So if you're tuning into the live stream and you want to ask questions for us to address, we will be happy to do so. We may even do it from a law of attraction perspective, since this is a law of attraction show.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Think about it.
Possibly.
We'll think about it.
Yeah.
We'll see what we can do.
I almost hesitate to ask because I think I can just kind of tell, but Tom, how's your week been?
It's been all right. What do you want to know about it? It's been like ups and downs and ins and outs, and I know I've been pretty happy. I mean, I don't have a lot of emotions that I'm processing, but I'm trying to.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Digging up all the dirt on myself I can, so that I can become a better human being and more evolved consciously.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my agenda in life. So.
That's a good agenda. I like that.
Yeah, but I'm doing a lot of work packing, so it's kind of a lot less pressure on me to instead of creating a significant contribution to the world, I'm packing.
Understandable.
It's a different thing.
Well, we're all on different tracks these days because Alyx and I are trying to contribute something significant to the world, which you actually have played a hand in helping us to create. Because
thank you.
We now have a first draft of the first episode of the script for Grass is Greener.
Yes,
and
so I read it, and I think it's a Hollywood quality.
Oof! Oh, high praise indeed.
Which I mean, I'm not the expert like you guys are, or Alexandria, who's watched how many movies?
Well, I watch more TV shows than movies, but yes, lots of movies.
And lots of TV. And this is actually more like a TV show script. It could be a movie script.
Right.
But,
right.
Yeah. But I thought it's really well done because you guys know how to keep the suspense building and to have dialogue that is engaging.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I kept wanting to read it, I thought, this is I like the way they talk too, because they talk more like modern folks do, and they don't. I don't know.
That'd be me.
That'd be you.
That's definitely her.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
That'd be me, yo.
That'd be the 35-year-old in the group.
Alex translated my 1970s speech into 2010 speech, so yeah, it was definitely
Right.
And I don't have to ask you how you're doing, Alex, because I mean we talk just about every day of the week, and plus we're working on the script. But how you doing, Alex? How's your week been going?
Well, since the last 8 hours since I've talked to you, I'm doing pretty good.
How about you, Walt? How are you doing?
We've been doing a lot. Well, that's how we're doing. We've been doing a lot of work. I mean, Alex did some research yesterday to come up with a set of theme musics for us to use throughout the show for the first episode, anyway, and probably for many of the following episodes. So we're in that sense. You mentioned Hollywood, Tom. We're going to follow Hollywood in that way by putting music underneath a lot of the track. Because
you have to pay for that music.
In the long run, we will. In the long run.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in the long run, we do have to. Yes, but if we get to the point where we have to pay for it, it means we are a success. So I think we can afford it at that point.
Yeah.
I see. So yeah, they actually set it up that way where you don't pay for it until you're a success.
Yeah, kind of, sort of. I mean, it's understandable. I mean, if you're creating anything that is going to be used by somebody else and they turn it into something where you've got thousands and thousands and thousands of people who are consuming it, you want a piece of that pie. So it makes sense.
Yeah.
Sure. Of course.
Because if you think about it, like let's say there was a Marvel movie and they went on one of these free websites and picked out a song, and then it turned out it was for a Marvel movie, and they're like, whoa, we want our check too.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
Yeah.
It all takes work. It takes a lot of work. Alex and I have we've really become very, very respectful of scriptwriters. Alex and I have, because I mean it is a job. It is a real job.
I can tell. When I looked at it, I thought, this is not something you just throw together.
No.
It takes so much thought and so much careful, analysis, you might say, so that you're writing stuff that, and I'm sure it also comes spontaneously to the gifted, So, that's why I was applauding you guys for your gifted abilities at coming up with that kind of a flow and language and everything that communicated so well.
Well, I mean, the good news is we hadn't written scripts before, but Alex has theatrical experience and also experience as a comedian on stage. I've written one book, and I've edited and written parts of another book, so I have some experience writing, and one of them was a fiction book, so I have some knowledge of that. Plus, I have the advantage of having a sister who was a theater major in school, and she's actually the one who taught me how to write fiction. Because when I was writing my fiction book many years ago.
She is very helpful. She is. I was going over her notes, and I was like...
does she comment on it?
Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sweet.
In fact, we're meeting with her.
With her red marker.
She did. She did.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's
great. And she has very poignant comments to make about it. I mean, you were talking about how the suspense was holding. She was saying, well, you got to keep this going here, otherwise you're going to start losing your suspense. So build this up or take this part out, or all this kind of stuff.
Right. Or move this here and do that there. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So very detailed. Because she actually does have some script writing experience. She's written a play. She wrote a musical, actually, and she's in the process of writing some other stuff too. So yeah, it's great to have that kind of help in the family.
That's cool. That's cool. Well, this could be a big deal, a big future for both of you, and as I'll be happy to watch you on the award ceremonies.
And plus, Alex has people on her side too who have experience related to what we're trying to do, and so we're getting help from a variety of different angles, and that's what's really important. That's really
cool.
You got to have that.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. No, it's wonderful.
Very important.
Yeah. So how do you think the audience that listens on Facebook and the podcast is relating to all this?
I don't know. I mean, we'll find out actually when they actually hear it. I mean,
so far there's any audience left.
Yeah, if there's any left, right? Oh my God! They're talking about that stupid video podcast again, an audio podcast. I can't take it anymore.
Yeah, right. We don't even know what it's about.
Well, if they're regular listeners, they actually do know, because we were talking about that starting in February, I think it was. when we first
Yeah.
You
started
were talking about
mapping
the
it
story,
out. Yeah, but it's fun to see how it kind of comes together. I mean, it's work, but it's fun to see how it comes together when you're piecing it. And that's what we did. I mean, we wrote this thing in pieces.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's not like what we started at the beginning and worked through to the end. It was just like, okay, here's a chunk. All right, well, let's put this chunk down there. Let's put another chunk here.
Yeah.
We need a couple more. Let's put a chunk here.
And then it's also hard because we have Walt was writing parts and then I was writing parts, so it was like, okay, where do they weave in between, and how do they go together, and how do we get from one part to the other part? So yeah, it was.
Amazing thing is, it sounds like it was just written by one person, really.
That's what a lot of my friends said. Yeah.
That's good.
They were like, oh, they were giving me all the praise. They were like, oh, you're so talented.
Yeah. When I read it, I felt it was mainly your script because of the languaging. And I thought, Walt does not talk like this.
And that part, you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, half of that,
you must have had a big hand in it.
I didn't even understand what half of it was, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had to go through it, and I had to explain some stuff. So.
I mean, sometimes I had to run through translate.google.com just to figure out what was going on there.
I can believe that.
Oh my God!
And actually, we have a meeting with my sister shortly after we record this podcast today, because she thinks that we need to do more to merge the voices together. She thinks it's too big of a divergence between my voice and Alex's voice. So apparently we have to do a little refining here to make it work even better. So, should be interesting.
Where does your voice show up? Where does your voice show up in which character? Or is it just
more?
where
does it show up?
Separated by scenes. It's not different characters.
Yeah.
Although, no, I will say that most of where the kids are talking, that's all Walt.
Oh.
But with Alex translating some of it into 10-year-old.
Yeah, I was going to say I did have to go back over that.
Yeah. And what she came back to me with, I read it and I said, "What? I have no idea what they're saying. I don't understand. Does this mean something?"
I didn't see them as 9 or 10. I saw them as 15 to 17.
Well, that's what 9 and 10-year-olds are nowadays.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
And that's really what I had in mind when I was starting to write that section.
Yeah.
Because I think we have it, 10 and 12? Is that how old they are? I can't remember exactly what the ages are.
Yeah, 10 and 12.
Yeah.
Well, they would be pretty mature probably after going through what they've been going through. And plus, any kids raised today are exposed to such a different scene than I was.
Exactly. That's it. So that's what I had in mind when I was writing them. So I didn't want to write them as a 10. In fact, I'm not even sure how a 10 or 12-year-old would talk. And I don't mean just today. I mean just in general. Going back, to when we were growing up. How would a 10 or 12-year-old talk? I could tell.
That's true.
I could have told you how a 6 to 8-year-old would have talked. I could tell you how a teenager could have talked, but a 10 to 12-year-old, it's almost like an amorphous kind of range. You just kind of went through that until you finally got to teen. There was no defining characteristic of it. It wasn't like the Harry Potter generation.
I bet they had a lot of, at least in our generation. Well, if you're in my generation, there was a lot more naivete and innocence compared to now. I was
gonna say not now.
It's true.
No. I say back then there would have been.
Yeah.
I was pretty sheltered. I was pretty damn sheltered. I didn't even started using any words that would be considered off color, until I was probably over 15.
But the thing that confuses me is that I also remember when I was a kid in that range, 10 to 12 years old. There were a few of us in the neighborhood, and we all kind of hung out a bit. And the one theme that keeps playing in my mind was how much anger there was in each of the kids. Wow. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Was this Connecticut kids?
This was in upstate New York, Schenectady, New York, and
Alex,
two of them were in what do you call it? Catholic school, and they were the angriest. They were the ones. They were the ones who, and one of them I only got hints of it, but it was pretty clear to me, especially later on when I thought about it, he was probably being beaten severely at home.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's always beautiful.
Yeah.
No, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's usually what it is when they're that angry in life that there's obviously something going on at home.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because they take out the pain that they feel, they take it out on other people.
Now, plus, when I was 10 to 12, that was right in the range you were talking about, Tom. That for me, that was 1967 to 69. So right in the middle of the 60s revolution. So add in what's going on a cultural basis to what's going on among the kids in the neighborhood who have all their own issues. And it was kind of a chaotic time. That's why I have trouble kind of pinning down what was it like to be a 10 to 12-year-old. It was disorienting. That's the best answer I can give you. It was so disorienting.
That's like what's going on now.
Mm-hmm.
You got the kids that are scared doing school shooting drills, at 10 and 12 years old now, and it's insane. And then you have social media and social media bullies and people jumping online telling you to kill yourself because you're ugly. You know what I mean? There's just so much going on and coming at you. You have to grow up fast. It's crazy.
That's an interesting observation, because not during the 67, 69 period, but a few years before that is when we would have had nuclear raid drills, where you dive under your desk because that was supposed to protect you in the event of a nuclear explosion, which of course is nuts, but how that would help.
That's what was happening when I was 9 to 11.
Yeah.
Because it was 1958 to 1961 or so.
It's almost like the culture has decided on a subconscious level that we went through being terrified, so the next generation has to be terrified too.
Not so much, because my generation, we had nothing to be scared of until 9/11, and that was for me was junior year. So it was crazy because it was a lull of just normal everyday stuff, and then it was like boom, 9/11, and it's like, what's going on in the world? There's a real world out there.
Yeah, right.
Oh my god. What do you mean? This is terrorist. What is that?
Yeah, God.
Yeah, that's true. The 90s were relatively quiet. That's true. They were crazy, but they were relatively quiet by comparison to the decades.
The media wasn't as bad in the 90s, I would say, because we did have there were a few riots, and there were what was it, Rodney King, that whole thing.
Yep.
And stuff like that. So, there were things, but nothing to rock a kid's world, let me tell you.
Right. Yeah, no, it's true. And plus that was also the .com boom. So everything was about the exploding internet and what was going to happen with that, and all the speculation and so forth. So that was a big deal. Yeah, that's true. It kind of reinforces what economists say.
How disorienting kids today are. I was talking to the guy I'm talking to now, and he has a son who's 8 years old. And he was telling me that there's this video game out. His son doesn't have it, thank God. But he said there's this video game out called Hey Neighbor. And I'm like, oh, that sounds like a cute game. He's like, no. It's the basis of the game is you're a kid, and your job is to rescue 2 other children from the basement of a pedophile next door.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. I'm like, first of all, who's making games like this? Second of all, why are parents buying these games for these kids? And third of all, if you see your kid playing this game, why are you letting your kid go to that kid's house? Like, no. All around. All bad parenting all around. Like, I don't like it.
Wow. You know what this does? It reinforces for me how important it is to be selective about what we focus our attention on. I mean, this is like the core basis of being a deliberate creator, right? What are you going to focus your attention on? And it's almost like life is delivering to us on a societal basis. Okay, here are all these things that you guys have been attracting all these years. What are you going to do? Are you going to continue to focus on them, or are you going to change your focus? And society is saying, yeah, I lap it up. Let's keep focusing on all those stuff that I don't like. It's almost like we're continuing to learn the lesson over and over again until we finally say, okay, enough, I'm done with it. I don't need to focus on that stuff anymore.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Otherwise known as the 2x4 strategy. But hey, we've got a long note from Sarah here. Let me see if I can get this in here. And
Hi, Sarah.
And she's got a question built into it too. So I'm going to bring it over to my little notepad so I can read it because I can't read Facebook. Facebook is just too darn small. I mean,
you know what you need? You need that computer screen magnifier. It's like a giant magnifying screen. Well, hold on, where are my hands? Because if I'm doing this, you don't know what I'm doing. It's like a screen. It hangs over your screen, so it's like a magnifying glass for your computer screen. You need one of those.
Well, I could do the same thing just with what's built into Windows, because if you hit the Control plus 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 plus, it'll just expand everything on the screen.
I mean, fine if you don't want to help people who are inventing stuff. Whatever, Walt. Do you?
But the problem is that when I do that, because it's zeroing on one section, I lose a large part of the comment section. And I don't see it's going to be any different with that enlarger. The enlarger is going to have the same issue, isn't it? I would think.
I don't know.
Because I mean, there's only so much you can. There's only so much you can squeeze in when you enlarge something. You know, it just that just takes up space. That's what the whole purpose of it is, to take up space.
But I don't think it. No, I don't think. I think it just. Well, it's like when you use a magnifying glass on a page.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It's the same thing. So it's not.
Exactly.
I don't think it. You just got to move the screen.
Well, you got to do more scrolling. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to avoid. Anyway.
Well, there's no getting around it.
I'm a pain. What can I say? So anyway, Sarah's got a nice note for us. She says, "Hi guys, hope all is well. So to keep LOA working for you every day, what are your to-do things that you do to keep LOA in action? If you've had a manic day, do you ever go to bed thinking, I've not shown appreciation or gratitude today? I mean, in the Book of Magic, I still do the magic rock and be thankful for the best thing to me that day. However, a few times I've forgotten and worry it has a negative impact." So we got 2 or 3 issues going on there that are all kind of tied together. Mm-hmm. Who wants to take a first swing at that one?
I'll go first because I know Tom's going to be a lot longer than me.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily.
So what I was going to say is, by focusing on whether you've been grateful or not that day, it kind of puts a negative spin on it. So it's like now you're concentrating on, oh gosh, I wasn't grateful today. Oh no, and then it makes it vibrating negatively, and I don't like that. So instead of doing that, just as soon as you think about it, then jump up and think of something you're grateful for. If that's what's bothering you. And then as far as what I do daily to stay on the law of attraction train, I mean, I don't really put too much thought into it. I just live my life, and good things happen to me because I vibrate on a higher level. I just, I do my own thing, and I do what makes my soul happy. If I feel uncomfortable, I don't do it. And that's just how I live life. And like I said, life works out for me.
That's a cool approach.
Yeah, I like that, Alex. I think that's the main thing I do too, is I make peace with where I'm at every moment. I mean, that's always the first step, is to accept the fact that whatever is coming up for me is I need to allow it, and not fight it, because no matter how unpleasant or strange things seem, if I put up resistance, then I'm going to add a vibration of resistance to my life, and that's just going to increase the thing that's bothering me. Mm-hmm. So by accepting it and relaxing, and then I do a lot of trusting. I say, well, do I have help or not? Do I do I have a soul that's connected to love and to source or not? And I'm trying to build that relationship every day, that I'm letting myself receive the gift that all is well, and that my receptivity to my own well-being is my main job. Mm-hmm. So I try to spend my day, like chilling out about things that could be potentially bothersome, and instead saying, I'm always in the right place at the right time on my path, and everything's working out. And right now I might not like what I'm feeling, but I can relax into this and process it. I can, for one thing, every morning get up and do meditation, which sets a vibration for the whole day. And without doing that meditation, sometimes my day feels a little more edgy. And then I have to stop at some point and do meditation. So yeah, I try to get out in nature at least once every day. Meditate. I actually meditate for about 45 minutes to an hour every day. Wow. Some people, just 10 minutes is better than nothing, or 5 minutes. For some of my clients, that's all they can do is 5 minutes. And I say, great, that 5 minutes can change your whole life.
I can do 5 seconds.
Hey, 5 seconds is better than not at all. It's really about setting the pattern. If you do it every single day, that's the main thing, And
I'm just like, okay, I made it. Now I'm done. already distracted by something else. I'm done.
So you got a little
maybe
work to do.
Maybe you get that experience from other things you do, that gets you centered,
Yeah, I definitely do.
Yeah, it sounds like you've got a good attitude. So that's coming from somewhere. You've got a foundation, right? So we each have to get a sense that we have a foundation. Anyway, I promised I wouldn't talk a long time. So, Walt, what do you think?
Well, I think you guys have made some good points. I'll pick up on a couple other things to kind of reinforce what you're talking about. Because, Sarah, you said, so to keep LOA working for you every day. Well, guess what? It does. And you don't have to do anything. It's working all the time. Every thought that you're putting out there, the law of attraction is delivering something back to you based on that thought and the feeling that's associated with it. So my advice about that is relax. It's okay. You don't have to do anything to keep it going. There's no cranking of the world you have to do. It just goes on its own. Just take it easy. Give yourself, cut yourself a break on that one, because really, you don't have to do anything.
It's like breathing; it does it on its own.
Yeah.
You don't have to concentrate on breathing. Well, sometimes you do.
Your job isn't to keep the law of attraction going. Your job is just to focus on what you want. So, spend more time focusing on what you want. Like you were saying, Alex, don't spend all the time focusing on, oh God, I haven't done my gratitude for today. Just do the gratitude. That's all. Don't turn it into a big production. Just go do it. You don't have to focus on the part that you don't like. Just focus on the part you do like. So that's my first take. And the other thing is, let's see, how'd you say it? A few times I've forgotten and worried has a negative impact. Well, no. Just because you forgot to do a gratitude doesn't mean the failure to have a moment of gratitude has a negative impact. It just doesn't have a positive impact. It doesn't. It just means that for that moment you're not getting the positive. I feel good about this thing that I prefer, that I'm focusing on, benefit. But it doesn't automatically mean that you're going to get negative out of it. I mean, especially it depends what kind of spiral you're in, or what your vibration is. If your vibration was negative at that point in time and you were in a deep depression, well, yeah, of course. But it isn't the failure to do gratitude that's keeping you there. It's that you're focusing on all the stuff that's making you feel really, really depressed. So it's just turning your perspective to what it is that you want. What is it that you feel good about?
And you can listen to what you tell yourself too, because if you're telling yourself messages that are going to build up the idea that you have a problem, then of course you will continue to have that problem.
Exactly. So exactly. Yeah. So I think my overall message would be: don't beat yourself up over the fact that you haven't done as much gratitude work as you'd like. Because all that does is work against the thing you're trying to do. Just drop that part about Okay, well, so you missed. So what? It's kind of like what Cindy Chavez and I have talked about, where Neville Goddard is concerned. He talks about sin, and he uses the word sin very, very specifically in a way that's different from the church. Sin is not something where you offended God or something like that. It's just literally, it means you missed the mark. You were aiming at the bullseye, and you didn't hit the bullseye. That's all it is. So you just correct your aim. It's not anything to get all upset about. It's not anything to say, oh, God, my life is ruined because of sin. No, you just missed the mark. That's all. Correct the aim. That's it. That's all you have to do. Just refocus on what it is that you want. And when you do that, everything else works out. So cut yourself a break. Be easy on yourself.
Yeah. And some people have a very strong vibration going on of, it could be fear or anger or grief or some really deep emotional thing that keeps upsetting their boat, that keeps making their life uncomfortable. And I think if that's the case, people need to process those emotions. They need to, first of all, accept that they feel those things and quit fighting against it. Let themselves become aware that they've got this constant thing nagging at them or whatever it is, that sense of feeling stuck or consistently sad or and then that stuff can be processed without always just looking for a way to put a Band-Aid on it and, blaming yourself that you're not feeling better. You can process those emotions by going into them and spending time asking them what they have to tell you, and spend some time with your eyes closed, feeling into those emotions, and you can learn a lot from them. But that's a delicate process sometimes. It's easier said than done.
Well, but it's a good process, because what you're really trying to do is you're trying to work through them so that they don't haunt you anymore, so that you can finally let go of them and go over to where you want to go. So that makes it a worthwhile thing to do. Yeah,
if you've had a pattern that you've been running on yourself for years and years and years, or you run in relationships, or you consistently attract the same problems into your life, then there's some kind of a vibration going on that needs to be addressed. And that's like the work I do with clients is called emotional clearing, so that they can literally be taken through a 4-step process to clear that emotional block that they've got going on. And that seems like it's just important to acknowledge that stuff, make peace with it in a sense, and then allow yourself to process it so that it no longer has the same impact.
Good stuff. Yeah. And Sarah is saying thanks. I agree. So I guess we're giving responses to her that are helpful to her, which is a good thing. So thank you for the question, Sarah. That was great. You did a nice job, too, of derailing us from this crazy, wild tangent we were on. So well done. Although we do like the crazy, wild tangents. We enjoy them a lot, as you can tell, because we keep going off on them.
Yeah.
It's kind of thing. It kind of reminds me that when we're writing the script for The Grass is Greener, Alyx, we have to really focus on what we want the script to say. I mean, just like Sarah or anybody else has to focus on what they really want. We have to focus on what we really want, and that boy, it really makes you. Well, first of all, it's a little bit tricky because, especially for the first episode, we're writing about stuff that's fairly negative, not relatively unpleasant stuff.
Yeah.
And, so we don't really want to, as human beings, we really don't want to have to focus on that if we don't have to. But because that's part of the story we're telling, we do focus in on it just long enough to kind of piece it all together and form it. And it's kind of like what Tom was talking about. It actually, I don't know about you, I found that I was processing what our lead character, Nance, was going through just by going through that process of, one step after another. Here's all the sequence of events of what happened to her during her day, and how does it all fit together? How does it all arrange itself? You gain, at least I think, you gain an idea of how the law of attraction actually works on a moment by moment basis when you write a script. Do you get that too?
I agree.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see what you guys develop as her steps out of her dilemma.
Yeah.
And still make it interesting to your audience. That's what the question I ask Walt when I give feedback about the script. I said, now where does it go from here? Does Lexi become the one who coaches her through all this? Is Lexi actually a coach or a psychotherapist? Or is Lexi just a really good girlfriend who maybe has been through something like that herself, so she kind of sees Nance's game because she's known Nance for 20 years or 10 years or something. So she's able to recognize that, Nance, don't you see what you're doing? But Lexi's a pretty intelligent or observant woman, it seems like.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So is she a therapist or a coach or what?
No, she's actually a club owner.
A club owner.
Yeah.
She's
in Miami.
In Miami?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, she probably sits around with her clients a lot and talks about their lives with them and something. But she's pretty aware, and she doesn't give it up for, like she's like a dog. It's got something, got the towel in their mouth and won't let it go.
Yeah.
Because she won't let Nance off the hook on this thing.
Which a good friend will do.
It's like, you can be better.
Yeah.
Do better.
Yeah. I mean, these are long-term friends. They've been friends since high school or even before that. And so they're best friends, and that's what she feels like you have to do with a best friend. You have to say, look, somebody's got to call you on this crazy thing you're doing here, and I'm calling you on it.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Lexi must have been through something like that herself to be so insightful as to to see Nance's pattern, or maybe that's an easy pattern to see.
She hasn't been through it herself, but she's seen Nance do this time and time again.
Oh, okay, so she's got some clue that Nance is on the wrong path still.
Clearly.
Yeah.
And we haven't really, Alyx was the one who came up with the character for Lexi. And we haven't really developed it beyond what the main purpose of it was here in this episode, which was to provide a foil to interact with Nance and bring a lot of the details out quickly during episode 1.
Yeah.
But
we didn't want a narrator. We didn't want a, what was the other thing I was going to say? We didn't want something else. Well, anyway, so that's why we created Lexi. So, flashbacks. We didn't want to have to do flashbacks.
Right.
So we just decided, well, we could have a best friend go, well, remember that time? And that's so much easier for writing purposes. It's so much easier.
Absolutely.
But now it's clear that you can't. I wouldn't imagine in any way if I was watching this series or listening to it to not have Lexi now involved in Nance's dilemma.
She's definitely going to be involved every step of the way. That's her best friend. Yeah.
Okay.
It's her ride or die. She ain't going nowhere.
Right.
And as the series develops, I think we're going to probably develop each of the different characters and show their own stuff going on. So we'll probably come up with some issues that Lexi went through in the past or is going through in the present that are her own thing. Maybe even something that Nance is able to help Lexi with. I mean, something along that line can be good.
Well, or maybe they're going to have a run-in because Lexi's going to have a really strong feeling and Nance is not going to be willing to look at it.
That's possible, too, yeah.
That's possible. That's possible.
Yeah. I mean, we haven't really figured it out yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if Nance is at least initially resistant the moment that a coach becomes involved or a therapist becomes involved. Because that's common. That's common.
Yeah. Always. Yeah.
And start bringing in law of
she's
attraction.
Already resisting Lexi.
Yeah, exactly. So she's not going to want to hear it from a stranger.
Right.
She's already resisting Lexi, but now she's had a huge wake-up call. So now she's going to want to perhaps really be humbled into wanting to hear it from a stranger.
Well, that's the thing. It's not a wake-up call yet.
It's not.
It's not.
Well, it's starting to be one at the end of the episode. At the end of the episode, she's in breakdown. So
she's freaking out.
So she's at least opening up a little bit to it. Is she open to it yet? I don't know. But that's part of the path of going there.
I'd say she's got to be open to it because she's questioning things on the deepest existential level you can. It sounds like she's really in pain.
She is.
Because this is really like in her face hugely now.
Yeah.
And
let's take a break.
What are her kids going to say?
Exactly.
Well, there's that too. Yeah. Let's take a little break because Sarah has another question for us. She says, "I'd like to attract more money into my life. You and me both, Sarah. Let's do that."
Don't we all?
So I
the money coming, honey. The money coming, baby. The money coming. That's what you got to say to yourself. The money coming, baby. The money coming. You got to know that. You got your angels are on it. Your angels are on it. They got it coming. They got it coming. I listen to Mink Steve on YouTube, and she's this really cool chick who
She's always going, the money coming, honey. The money coming, baby. I love it. I love it when she says that. I go, okay, yeah.
I love it. So anyway, she says...
You got to have that attitude.
Sarah says, so I've been focused on 3,000 pounds. Any tips on how to speed it up? How do you speed it up?
Relax more about it.
Yeah. Speak it into existence and then let it go. And I don't believe there is a speeding up or slowing down. I believe that it'll come to you when it's supposed to. So it may not be in your time frame, but it's in the universe's time frame. So.
And if your attitude can be less and less worry about it and more trust that the universe is abundant and it wants to give you what you need and what you want, and then look at what your vibration is around it. If you find your vibration is fear, or your vibration is doubt and worry, then that, of course, is what stands between you and allowing it in.
Yeah.
And but you could do proactive things like, what's his name, who you were just talking about, Walt? Neville
Goddard.
Goddard does with the visualization of it, seeing yourself more and more already successful, doing all the things you would do once you have that money.
Yeah, so Neville calls it assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Like you said, feeling it. Feeling it's actually more important than visualizing it. In fact, I shared a story with Cindy Chavez on Wednesday that came from a video that was made of a guy who was one of Neville's students. And this is a guy who's actually quoted in one of Neville's books. He's the guy, if you've ever heard the story, he's the guy who, using Neville's method, managed to attract and acquire an Arthur Murray dance studio franchise.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the one who did that one. Interesting video. But among other things, he went to his first Neville event in Los Angeles in a church on Wilshire Boulevard. And he went to it on the recommendation of a friend. He was very skeptical as he was going to it. And as he's walking in the door, he's saying to himself, so I wonder what this guy is going to do to try to get money out of me. That was his attitude walking in the door. And he goes in and sits down, and Neville comes out, and the very first thing Neville says is, well, okay, before we get started, I want to set one issue aside. No one is going to be passing the collection plate today. Which was a cool LA thing, I thought.
Yeah.
But even more than that, he told a story that Neville actually includes in his books, but he told it in a different context. He's used the analogy of climbing a ladder as a way of visualizing. So the idea is you imagine a ladder in front of you, and you're standing right at the ladder. So you're not looking at the scene; you're part of the scene. And you reach out with your imaginary left hand, you grab the left-hand side of the ladder. You reach out with your imaginary right hand, you grab the right-hand side of the ladder. You step up with your imaginary left foot on the first rung. You stand up with your imaginary right foot on the second rung, and you feel yourself and you imagine yourself climbing that ladder. So you're actually putting yourself into that place. Well, that's a metaphor that he's used a few times in his books. But in the case of this talk, what he said was, here is what I want you to do. I want you, as you're going to sleep every night, like this is, again, a key part of what he talks about. As you're going to sleep, I want you to imagine yourself climbing that ladder. I want you to do it every night for at least 3 nights in a row, and you just keep doing it until you fall asleep. So you do that for 3 nights in a row. And this is the hitch, this is the really interesting part. He says, during the day, I want you to make a sign and put the sign up that says, I will never climb a ladder again. And I want you to declare to the world, I will never climb a ladder again. And put a note in your wallet that says, I will never climb a ladder again. In other words, he's directly contradicting what he's having you do when you're going to sleep. His purpose is to say, the method that we're using as you're going to sleep is going to override any doubt you have during the day. And I'm going to prove it to you by you doing this little routine. And anyone who does this, Anyone who does this and completes the task and finds yourself climbing the ladder anyway, much to your surprise, I want you to come back next week. This was on a Sunday, so I want you to come back next Sunday. And then he sent them all home. Well, the guy went home and after hearing the full talk and said, oh, I'm going to take Neville's challenge. I'm going to do it. So he started doing it. And for 3 nights in a row, he visualized. And during the day, he did the signs and everything saying, no, I will never climb a ladder again. He even told his wife, I will never climb a ladder again. And then the following Saturday, he got a phone call from his mom saying, would you come over to the house? We need some help with a few things. His parents were elderly, so they need a little help. And he gets to the house, and his father's up on the roof. And his father shouts down to him, hey, son, can you hand me that bucket of paint? And without thinking about it, he walks over, picks up the bucket of paint, climbs the ladder, hands him the bucket of paint, and says, oh my God, I just climbed the ladder.
Oh, that's great.
That's a good story. So, and he did go back the following week. Yeah.
What's so funny is that all the talk about how you work with your subconscious, so that if you make statements like that to yourself constantly, that what you're actually saying to your subconscious is, I will climb a ladder, I will climb a ladder, because the subconscious only hears one thing, and that is climbing the ladder.
This is true.
It doesn't hear never. It doesn't hear the word never. So Neville is supporting the person getting entirely focused on climbing the ladder.
Which is really
so your
funny.
subconscious is neutral, is what you're saying.
Yeah, that's what they say, and I see how it's kind of that way. Whatever you vibrate with is what you're going to attract more of. Whatever you're actually focusing on, and if you're thinking about this ladder and climbing it, you are focusing on that, and so you're likely going to attract that into your life. So it's not at all surprising that he ended up on a ladder at his parents' house either. That's pretty cool.
So anyway,
that's how you.
Go ahead.
That's how you learn lucid dreaming. That's how you learn to be a lucid dreamer. Is that you practice seeing your hands in front of yourself, and you do it during the day. You look at your hands, and then you look at them continually, like on and off throughout the day. And then at night, when you're in your dream, before you go to sleep, you say, in my dream, I'm going to notice my hands, and when I do, that's a sign that I'm alive in my dream. I'm awake in my dream. And once you're able to do that, you can be in your dream, and then you can be controlling things in your dream. That's another way to have the money come quicker, is that you can ask every night before you go to sleep for help from your spiritual guides to take you to the place you need to be in to be more receptive to money coming into your life. And your guides will help you. Lucid dream. People use lucid dreaming to get things too. It's interesting. I can't say I've done it yet. I'm still learning to see my hands. I haven't practiced it enough. I don't make it enough of a.
Well, that's it right there. You just touched your finger on it, and I think that's really the full answer to Sarah's question, because her question is, well, how do I speed this up? You speed it up by focusing on what you want and taking all of your attention away from all the doubts, because it's the doubt. Why does stuff take so long to show up? Well, in fact, the law of attraction likes to deliver things very, very quickly. The only reason it doesn't is because we resist it in various ways. We just set up all these little blocks and we don't let it in, and then eventually maybe it finds a way in anyway, kind of the way that water finds its way through the rocks. But we make it hard for the law of attraction to deliver to us. We just put up all this stuff in the way. So the quick answer is stop putting stuff in the way. Keep focusing on what you want and stop focusing on all the doubts and the worries and, oh, Jesus is going to show up and why didn't it show up in time and all that. Get rid of all that. Get that out of your conversation with yourself entirely. And just replace it with all the things that you're doing that are fun, that are enjoyable, that also tie into, in your mind, attracting that 3,000 pounds into your life. So, change the subject around, change the story around, so that you're focusing on the fun part, on the part that feels good, on the part that ties into your preference side, the side that you prefer. Stop focusing on the stuff you don't prefer. Nobody prefers, oh, geez, it isn't showing up. I have yet to meet anybody who says, I prefer to have everything show up slowly.
The way Abraham always puts it is that the only reason it's not here yet is because you're giving, as you just said, you're giving a mixed message to to the universe. You have mixed vibrations that are there, and so you keep getting this. Whatever you're getting, is a combination of the vibrations you're putting out there. So
Exactly right.
theoretically, if you could put out a really clear message of abundance and allowing it to come into your life and spending all that money without any other conflicting vibrations, it would be there. It would come.
Yeah,
Right?
it's true. And that's exactly what happens. I mean, Sarah, I am also trying to attract not just 3,000 pounds. I mean, I'm going for the gusto. I'm going for much bigger amounts than that. And the way I'm doing it is I put my request out there and then I left it alone. I'm not going back and torturing myself over it. Instead, I'm getting on with doing the things in my life that I love doing. So I love doing this daily podcast. And I love working on the project that I'm working on with Alyx and that Tom has helped out on, doing this fictional podcast audio play that we're putting together. And I'm just enjoying doing that. And, hypothetically, here's one possible scenario. We write this first episode, we put it out there, and all of a sudden it goes viral. And all of a sudden, tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of people are saying, whoa, this is a great new series that's out. Well, shoot, I don't even know exactly how it's going to happen, but somehow that's going to put some money into our pockets. And I don't even have to know how. I don't even have to know how that's going to happen. You can just kind of tell some way, in some manner, we're going to be guided to do X, and X is going to lead to the money coming in because there's so many people who are interested in it. So once again, you don't worry about how is it going to happen. It's what Mike Dooley calls the horrible hows. I thought that was a great phrase he came up with, the horrible hows. There's nothing more horrible than trying to figure out how the law of attraction is going to deliver something to you. That's probably the most self-defeating and depressing and discouraging and awful thing to think about. So what do we spend most of our time doing? We spend all our time on the horrible hows. Figure that one out. I don't know why we do that. I mean, Tom, you're the life coach. Why do people do that? Why do people do that? Yeah, right. The money coming, right.
The money coming, baby. That's all I'm telling you. The money coming.
It's just remarkable. I mean, when you're dealing with a client and the client is focusing on the worry, what's your favorite way to distract them from that and to redirect them?
Just to point out what they're doing. Because when they start looking at how, I basically, the main thing I use in my coaching so much is to help a person see that they are, to see what they're doing, to see how they're shaping their reality every day. And by the what they're telling themselves and what they're thinking, then they begin to see, oh, well, yeah, of course I'm getting that result. I'm totally freaked out about this. That's why I'm getting the result I'm getting. And once they begin to see that, then that's when the changes begin, I feel like.
I almost wonder, we live in the age of the smartphone, right? Everybody has their smartphone these days. And smartphones have the ability not only to take selfies, but also to take selfie videos. I wonder why more people aren't taking advantage of that to see what they look like as they are going through their perseverating.
Oh, they do. Oh, they do.
Yeah, they do.
They do.
There's some pretty bad videos out there.
And they go live.
And you wish they wouldn't.
And then it's like, okay, this is none of my business, but I'm here for the drama, so I'm watching it.
But do they watch their own videos? That's the question I have.
I don't know if they watch it back, but they're definitely doing the video and definitely going live and breaking down on social media, and it's
because if they're not playing it back, they're losing the advantage of it. You got to play it back for yourself in order to see what you're doing.
Yeah, I will admit I did it once. I was in a very low place and deep in my depression, and I made a YouTube video right after my friends decided they wanted nothing to do with me, but didn't give me any reason or any closure or whatsoever. So I made a video, and it was a semi-private video. It wasn't public, but it was on YouTube. So some people could see it, but some people didn't. And I forgot about it, and then I got a notification. Oh, so and so watched your video. Or no, it was some guy trying to sell me something to help depression or whatever.
Oh.
So he was just, so they just look for anything about depression, and they're like, yeah.
Right.
So I was like, what is this for? And I looked at the video and I watched it back, and I was like, oh God, what was I thinking?
Mm-hmm. But it's educational.
Why did I
reality TV?
I was like, what? I was like, oh my god, this is why my friends left me. This is why. This is what it is. This is what it's like to be friends with me. I was like, okay, all right, let me delete this.
Delete.
The internet is forever. So, but yeah, luckily no one really saw it. Probably like 2 or 3. It only got 2 or 3 views, thank goodness. But still, goodness gracious, if y'all could just watch yourselves back, like it's like sending an angry email, and then deleting it before you send it. Please delete it before you send it.
By the way, you don't have to go through. You don't have to go through the humiliation. You don't have to actually post it to YouTube. Just make it on your camera and play it back on your camera. You don't have to go any further than that.
That was the point I was getting to. Don't post it. Just watch it back and see I mean, leave it in your phone for a couple of days, couple of weeks. Come back to it, and then you'll just be like, oh God,
mm-hmm.
it wasn't even that serious, like. Mm-hmm. And thank God I didn't post it.
And the cool part is when you go delete there, it actually deletes.
Yeah, exactly.
It goes away forever.
Yes.
Because you didn't share it out there.
Cloud too.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, that's true. That's right. There's the cloud. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yep.
See, I don't use the cloud for my smartphone. I back up to my computer.
I don't use the cloud. Well, I don't use the cloud on purpose, but my phone automatically does it. So what are you going to do?
Oh,
and
I
then
figured
when
out
I
how
buy
to
a
do
new
it.
phone, and then it downloads all your stuff, and I'm like, why do I have random pics of myself? Because like you're taking a selfie, and then like you go to scratch your nose, and the camera goes off, and that uploads to the cloud, and it's like, I deleted this picture. Why is it still in the cloud? And it's like, that damn cloud.
See, that's the advantage of an iPhone, because with an iPhone, yes, they do want you to upload to the cloud, but there is a way for you to bypass all that, which is what I do. I bypass all that, so nothing actually goes to the cloud. Instead, whenever I choose to, I do a backup to my laptop, and that's the only backup there is. Nothing ends up going to the cloud. So I have a backup, but I don't have to mess with the idea of, well, what if somebody breaks into my account or something like that? It just doesn't become an issue. That plus very secure passwords. I use passwords that you would never be able to even pronounce, let alone retype. Very useful kind of password. And mine are like 50 characters long, so no one would ever be able to guess them.
So it's not Walt's Cat 30.
No, it's W369 # A. 8S, it's like you couldn't possibly come up with it. It would be
all the keys on the keyboard,
all of them, and literally that's how I do it. I mean, if they ask for a password, I'll just start hitting keys, and if I don't see enough symbols, I hit some symbols and so forth, and I'll just come up with this long, incoherent string is what it is. It's just this incoherent string of characters, and it works. Nobody breaks in.
Yeah,
you have a way to keep track of what they all are.
I do, but if I told you what that was, I'd have to kill you. So I can't tell you what that is.
Now, see, I have the same password for everything because it's just easier that way for me. But I do change them randomly, and then
what's your current password?
I'll tell you what my past password was.
That'll help.
I can't tell you my current password.
Excuse me. As an former IT professional, I strongly discourage anyone from sharing any password they have ever used in their life with anyone in a public forum. End of commercial announcement.
I'll tell you later.
That's why I wanted to see what Alyx would do.
I was going to give you a fake one anyway.
I was going to try to break into her huge stash of cash.
Oh yeah. It's not there yet, but the money coming. The money coming,
baby.
The only thing that's worse than that is somebody who not only uses the same password over and over again, but they share it with a close friend. It's like, what are you doing? Don't you understand? I don't understand. I'll tell you a quick story. We only have a minute left, but I'll tell you a quick story. Back when I was doing IT for a living, which was about 20 years ago, there was a story that went around, and I'm pretty sure it was a true story, about a company that had come in, a security company that had come into a fairly good-sized corporation to test their internal security and to see how secure their internet was and their servers and the desktops and all that kind of thing. And the IT staff had been doing all this work, preparing for it and securing everything they could think of, and they thought they'd done a really good job. So the security company sends their guy in. He's like a professional hacker type. And after the first 10 minutes, he calls and says, okay, I broke in. And they say, how the hell did you do that? They're just blown away. He says, oh, it was really simple. I called the president's receptionist and said, hi, this is Jack from the IT department. I seem to have lost my password. Can you give me his password and I'll just use that to get in and get my password?
Wow.
She said, sure, yeah, here you go.
There's a leak. There's a leak.
There is
fire that secretary.
There is no amount of internet security that anyone can do that cannot be broken by stupidly sharing your password with somebody else. It just can't be protected against.
No, because my mom and I share our passwords with each
No,
other.
no, don't do it. No.
No, we have to, because what if something happens to one, for caregiver's sake, if something happens to one of us, we have to be able to get into each other's bank accounts and other stuff, so...
Thank goodness we're entering the realm of two-factor authentication, where more and more you're going to find various things that you log into are also going to require you to get a code on your phone. That's the second factor, and that's going to eliminate a lot of this stuff. It's going to make it so much harder for a hacker to break in. But
yeah, I tried to change my password on Yahoo, and they were like, "Well, we're going to send an email, a message, password to your phone and to this second phone." So I'm like, Mom, you're going to get a phone call. Just tell me the numbers. Like, well, she wasn't home. This would have taken all day.
Well, we've certainly gone off on a tangent again, as promised. So I just wanted to let everybody know we do follow our promises, we keep our promises, and we do go off on wild tangents. And so there you are. With that thought in mind, this is crazy. This is a wild discussion today. I have no idea how I'm going to write this up. I mean, Alex keeps my hashtags. I presume you've got some hashtags. I have no idea how they're all going to connect together.
Do I. They're crazy, let me tell you.
But it's going to be fun.
They're all over the place.
Hey, but
the last one is promise tangents.
yeah, there it is. Right. So, it's a good way to end the week. That's what it is. It's a good way to end the week. So thank you. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Alex. This has been a lot of fun.
You're welcome.
Been crazy. Thank you to our live stream listeners. Thank you to our podcast listeners as well. We'll see you all next time here on LOA Today. Goodbye, everybody.